VA pays over $100 billion on an annual basis to disabled veterans. Have you ever wondered what are the 10 most prevalent compensated disabilities? Well, keep watching. I'm going to break it down for you. Number 1, tinnitus. It's manifested by ringing in the ears and usually precipitated by some sort of traumatic noise exposure. Number 2, believe it or not, knee injuries. And you don't have to be an airborne ranger to have injured your knee in service. Heck, it just takes one wrong move in physical training to have a debilitating knee injury. Often, if they're serious enough, they persist after service, even after treatment. So that's the second most compensated disability according to VA's own data. Third, hearing loss. If you've ever worked in aviation in the service, worked on a flight deck, or in artillery, you're exposed to a lot of noise that can affect your hearing. And hearing protection for some specialties, for certain wars, wasn't even offered until the last 20 or 30 years. And I'm not going to get into that 3M earplug lawsuit. That's not what this is about, but I think that has something to do with why hearing loss is so high up on the list of compensated disabilities. Number 4, and I'm sure you thought this would be higher on the list than it is, post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD is a very, very common disability among active duty service members and veterans, and it's no surprise that it's in the top 10 of compensated disabilities. Number 4, spinal disabilities. Whether it's a cervical spine up in your neck, a thoracic, or a lumbar spine, it doesn't take much to really injure your back during active duty service. Infantrymen in particular tend to develop these conditions, marching with heavy rucksacks, carrying wounded battle brothers out of a combat area. There are a lot of ways in which you can injure your back in service, hence why it's so high up on the list. Number 5, sciatic nerve impairments. These spinal conditions typically can compress the nerves that are near the discs in your back. And that creates a separate disability that is separately compensable under VA regulations. So don't forget when you're applying for a back condition to ask your doctor whether there's any interaction with the surrounding nerves near where your problems are having. The next most prevalent condition, scars. Whether you have an in-service surgery that left a huge unsightly scar, whether that scar is unstable, whether it's painful, even if it's just unsightly, VA has a path to get compensated for those as well. So it makes sense that it's that high up on the list. They don't get pretty high ratings, but they do get something. Next, we're looking at arm injuries. There are many ways in which you can injure your arms during service, and it doesn't have to be in combat. I represented a veteran who had a severe arm injury that he sustained by using his arm to break his fall after he fell off a deuce-and-a-half truck. He was stateside, never left the country. That still counts, that is still compensable, and that's one of the reasons why it's in the top 10. Ankle injuries are next. Naturally, ankle injuries are on this list because when there's a knee injury, usually anything below that knee is similarly impaired because the knee bone's connected to the ankle bone. And rounding out the top 10, migraines, which are a deeply painful and often debilitating kind of headache. They can be occasional or they can be chronic, but either way, they are a huge pain. I've represented veterans who have had to quit their jobs because the migraines kept coming during business hours and put them out for the count for hours. It is one of the most highly compensated disabilities, not just because of the severity of the migraines, but also because of the many different stressors that can cause migraines. It can be stress levels related to PTSD. It could be environmental factors. It could be a number of things. So now that we've gone through all these top 10s, if you have any disabilities listed here that you believe are related to your active duty service, I highly encourage you, file a claim. And if VA tells you no, come see the people at Veterans Health Group, because we're here to help you get your benefits, because when you get your benefits, you get your life back.